Okay, welcome to Business English. This is the first lecture referring to Chapter 1. First of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the beginning of the chapter, which focuses on why this is really important. Why study Business English? First of all, it's a marker of high skill. Anytime that you are able to communicate effectively, you can share your ideas, whether it be through written correspondence, spoken correspondence, whether you are sharing ideas through tweets or other social media posts, and you do so effectively, then you are going to basically showcase your talents as a skilled communicator. Individuals who don't punctuate sentences properly, who truncate many of their words and use emoticons and emojis, show a lack of professionalism. So we're going to focus on how English affects the business environment. Okay, first of all, there's a handout that I provided for you in your learning management system in the content link, and it's called How to Speak Okie in One Easy Lesson. And there's a poem at the very beginning, and it kind of describes some of the conflicts, some of the challenges we're going to have with this Business English course. This is our strange language. It's anonymous. We'll begin with a box, and the plural is boxes, but the plural of ox is oxen, not oxes. Then one fowl is a goose, but two are called geese, yet the plural of moose should never be meese. You find a lone mouse or a whole set of mice, yet the plural of house is houses, not ice. If a plural of man is always called men, why shouldn't the plural of pan be called pen? If I speak of a foot and you show me your feet and I give you a boot, would a pair be called beat? If one is a tooth and a whole set are teeth, why shouldn't the plural of booth be called beath? Then one may be that and three may be those, yet hat in the plural wouldn't be hose. We speak of a brother and also say brethren, but though we say mother, we never say metheren. Then the masculine pronouns are he, his, and him, but imagine the feminine, she, shiz, and shim. So English, I fancy you all will agree, is the funniest language you ever did see. Okay, that speaks well of the English language since it's a hodgepodge of all the other languages and has components of some of the strengths of all the other languages. In the English language, we use 8 parts of speech, and we're going to cover those 8 parts of speech briefly in just a moment. But you will notice that in the English language, it's a little bit challenging, specifically in the areas of gender. For example, in Spanish, if you are speaking to a man, you would use nouns or pronouns to reference the man with an O ending word in most cases. For example, mi amigo. That would be a masculine reference, but if you have an A ending word, mi amiga, that would be a female reference. So English does have its challenges. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at a couple of elements from this handout that's located in your content link of the Learning Management System. We're going to study about nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, conjunctions, prepositions, interjections. Those are the 8 parts of speech. A noun is nothing more than a person, place, thing, event, a quality, a feeling. They function as subjects of sentences, as objects, or as subject complements. Pronoun is a noun replacement. It would be awkward if we did not have pronouns in our language because we'd be repeating our own name over and over and over again. So I, we, you, he, she, it, they, me, us, you, him, her, it, them, my, mine, our, ours, your, yours, their, theirs, its, his, hers. All of those are considered to be pronouns that are used to substitute for nouns. And pronouns can be used as subjects and as objects and as complements as well. Verbs. Most verbs are action that... for example, completed, ran, finished, composed, directed, taught, obliterated, stopped. Those are examples of action verbs. There are also examples of verbs that are considered to be linking. The linking verbs are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. In addition to those, some of the senses, because they function as a state of being. They have no action associated with them. And a state of being would be a smell, a sense, like smell, taste, feel, hear, appears. Those words are also considered to be linking as well, and generally the word that follows after a linking verb is more likely an adjective, but it certainly can also be a noun or a pronoun too. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns specifically. If it modifies anything else, it's not an adjective. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. And they ask the questions what kind, which one, how much, and how many. Adverbs, on the other hand, modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They ask the questions how, when, where, to what degree, and to what extent. If an adverb is, if a word is actually referring to a noun or pronoun, you know it's not going to be an adverb, because adverbs modify only verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Conjunctions join words or phrases or clauses. Prepositions is a word used before nouns and pronouns to relate them to other words in a sentence. Examples are given right there. And an interjection is an expression of emotion, unrelated grammatically to the rest of the sentence usually. If you have an interjection that shows strong emotion that's not directly related to the rest of the sentence, end it with an exclamation point. But if it's kind of a lower level type of interjection, like, oh, I didn't know that happened, the word oh is a lot less emotion, so use a comma after it instead. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the chapter. Okay, nouns, persons, places, things. They also can include qualities or feelings or concepts or activities or measures. They can be proper or common. Proper nouns such as people's names are capitalized, or names of buildings, or the names of rivers, or the names of lakes are proper nouns. Common nouns are generic nouns such as a desk, film, door, floor, carpet, chair. Those are common nouns, and you would not capitalize those. Okay, give some examples of how you would use names in each one of those categories, such as Jennifer or Dr. Kern as proper nouns. Then as a common noun, such as manager and the professor. Places like Milwaukee, a building, the Empire State Building, or just a common noun such as university or ocean. Things like an iPad. Now this has changed a little bit where the capitalization of this brand name doesn't capitalize the first character of the name. That's perfectly acceptable, and the P is capitalized instead. Facebook, but if you look at PowerPoint, both P's are capitalized. So based upon the branding of that particular proper noun is the way that you would actually capitalize it. But they have common nouns such as things such as a refrigerator or a bicycle. Qualities like impatience, honesty, initiative, and enthusiasm, or feelings such as happiness and anger. Concepts such as knowledge and freedom. Activities such as tweeting. Now, you can also make tweet a verb too. I tweet on my device every evening. That would be a verb in that particular case. But tweeting is so much fun, now it would be a noun. Investing in stocks is so much fun. Investing is a noun, but it can be a verb as well. Even though we identify these words as a noun, they can also function as other parts of speech depending on how they're used in the sentence. And then there's measures like the month or the thousand, ounce, or kilometer that are considered to be common nouns as well. Okay, sentences revolve around nouns because these words function as the subjects of the verbs and or the objects of verbs as well. To determine whether a word is usually a noun, try using it with the verb is or are. Notice that all nouns listed here would make sense if used in this way. Jennifer is motivated. Milwaukee is in Wisconsin. iPads are popular. Tweeting is fun, and so on. Okay, pronouns substitute nouns. I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Look what happens if we don't use a pronoun in this sentence. Devin sent the text message to Linda so that Linda could read the text message before making Linda's decision. How awkward is that? Pronouns are noun substitutes. Devin sent the text message to Linda so that she, and it aligns with the gender of Linda, could read it. It is referring to the message before making her, meaning Linda's, decision. Okay, pronouns function as subjects of verbs. They also function as objects of verbs, and they may act as connectors as well, and they may show possession. Okay, verbs show action, occurrence, or state of being. Aaron created. What did Aaron do? He created. So created is an action verb. The next one, it contains. Contains is an action verb for the subject of it, and it is actually a pronoun, but it's functioning as a subject. And in business writing, by the way, it is best to avoid the use of there and it as sentence subjects because it usually elongates a sentence and makes it a little bit more wordy. So try to avoid it and there as sentence subjects. And then a state of being. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. He is your subject, even though it's a pronoun. Is your linking verb, and then proud describes him. Okay, other linking verbs, in addition to am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been, are feels, appears, tastes, sounds, seems, and looks. If it's only a state of being, then those verbs are definitely linking, but sometimes with the word feels, I feel disconnected. Well, feel is an action. It's a state of being. It's an emotion. So that's a linking verb, and disconnected is an adjective to describe how I'm feeling. But I felt on the floor for my contact lens. You can see me physically feeling along the floor, and therefore felt would no longer be a linking verb. It would now become an action verb. Helping verbs is have, has, or had. Those are the most common. There's certainly many more, and they're used to complete regular action verbs. And whenever you have even a linking verb along with a regular action verb, then it becomes helping or auxiliary, and then as a result, the name is changed to a verb phrase. For example, she has been training. Okay, she trained to become a legal secretary. Trained is clearly a regular action verb. But now with the word has been, with a helper and a linking verb there, that is transitioned to a verb phrase in that particular case, since they've been added to help out the action verb train. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next part of speech, which is an adjective. They describe and ask the questions, what kind, which one, how much, and how many. Here we have the word union. Okay. Union is my subject. My verb is are becoming. That's my verb phrase. And then popular is my adjective. And it describes or refers to unions. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns only. And they ask the questions: which one, what kind, how much, and how many. Which unions? The ones that are popular. Okay, now in addition to the words preceding the word union, what kind of union? A small union. What type of union? An independent union. What type of union? A credit union. So all of these words right here are adjectives describing the noun unions. We have 6 franchises in 4 states. How many? Which one? What kind? How much? And how many? Franchises is a noun, and the word 6 describes it. So 6 is an adjective in this case. How many states? 4 states. So 4 is an adjective to modify the noun states. Which chain? That chain. Now see, that is usually a pronoun. It's a demonstrative pronoun, this, that, these, and those. But whenever they're used to refer to a noun or a pronoun, they generally become adjectives because they describe which train, that chain. Let's see, now we have one that's reversed. He is personable and outgoing. So he is your subject, is a linking verb, and then personal and outgoing both refer back to he. He is a personable and outgoing person. Those are adjectives that describe the pronoun he that's functioning as the subject of the sentence. Same thing with she is energetic and confident. Those are adjectives that describe the pronoun she that's functioning as a subject. Okay, let me close that out really quickly and then we'll continue. Here's some other adjectives that generally describe efficient, forceful, humorous, intelligent, mature, responsive, pessimistic, successful. Those are most commonly used as adjectives. The word purple, if I said the purple color, it describes color. But if I made the statement is color me purple, then it's functioning more as a noun in that particular case. So I don't think that would always be an adjective. It depends on how it's used in a sentence. And then a key concept here at the bottom of the page, a and the, those are all adjectives, but they categorize them into a special group called articles. We'll cover that more a little bit later. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at adverbs. Remember, adjectives modify nouns and pronouns and ask the questions: what kind, which one, how much, and how many. Adverbs, on the other hand, sometimes, most of the times, in ly, but not always, and they ask the questions when, where, how, when, where, to what degree, and to what extent. And they modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Okay. To remember more easily what an adverb does, think of its 2 syllables. Add suggests that you will be adding to or amplifying the meaning of a verb. Hence, adverbs often modify verbs in addition to adjectives and other adverbs. So here's some examples right here. Tomorrow we must discuss our stock offering. Well, we must discuss is your subject and your verb. When must we discuss it? Tomorrow. When must we discuss it? Tomorrow. So tomorrow is an adverb that modifies the verb must discuss. Okay, look at the next one. Rudy began his presentation enthusiastically. How did he begin? He began enthusiastically. So enthusiastically is an adverb that modifies the verb began, because I can ask, how did he begin it? Now, thirdly, she seems especially competent. Okay, this is a little bit more challenging because seems is a linking verb. So she is a pronoun that's functioning as a subject. Seems is a linking verb. And generally when you have a linking verb, the following word that follows to answer the question what or who afterwards is a complement. and it complements a subject, so we refer to it as a subject complement. A subject complement is usually an adjective, but it can sometimes be a noun or a pronoun too. So she seems competent. So that describes who she is. So competent is an adjective that complements the subject she. Well, how competent? Especially. So especially, since I can ask the question how competent, and especially is right there before it, then I can assume that especially is an adverb that's modifying the adjective competent. Adjectives modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Some other adverbs: absolutely, carefully, greatly. Here's some without ly endings, like now. And then there's only, really, today, to, and very. But look at these words at the bottom of the page. Whenever I said, Mike is friendly, that describes Mike. So friendly is an adjective in that case, and it ends with ly. And who's it describing? Mike. So Mike is a noun, and adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. And ask the questions, what kind, which one, how much, and how many. Adverbs, on the other hand, ask the questions how, when, where, to what degree, and to what extent, and they modify verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. Okay, prepositions join nouns and pronouns to other words in a sentence, and there will not be a verb in a prepositional phrase. The best way that I can tell you what a preposition is to tell you about maybe an ant and a hill. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at this. The ant went into a hill, or the hill. Okay, there's the sentence. Ant is your subject, went is your verb, and this is your prepositional phrase. There's no verbs inside of a prepositional phrase, and the word into is a preposition that's linked to the object of the preposition, and the object of the preposition will always be a noun or a pronoun. Nothing else. An object is always a noun or a pronoun. Now, there's other words. The ant went around the hill. The ant went in the hill. The ant went to the hill. The ant went through the hill. The ant went beyond the hill. The ant went beside the hill. The ant went inside the hill. The ant went outside the hill. The ant went, there's 60 other prepositions in that handout. It lists those 60 prepositions, and those words that show a relationship to a noun or pronoun without a verb coming between the preposition and the object of the preposition. That's one of the ways that you can identify what a preposition is when it's connected to a noun or a pronoun with no verb coming between it. Okay, I'm going to close that and move forward and take a look at conjunctions and interjections. Conjunctions join nouns, they join verbs, they join adjectives, they join adverbs, they join phrases, they join clauses. The example that the most common conjunctions are and, but, or, nor, for, so, and yet. There are many other types of conjunctions too that we'll look at a little bit later that form clauses. And but for the time being, we're just going to look at connectors that join maybe words of equal rank. So Danielle, Mark, and Huang are all looking for jobs. So the and joins the three characters together. And so we have Daniel as a subject, Mark as a subject, and Huang as a subject. Those three words are subjects, and we usually put the and in the last of three items in a series. And now we're looking for a plural verb, which is are looking. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at interjections. Strong emotion like wow. Did you see her most recent Facebook status update? Ends with an exclamation point, and then there's, oh, I should have known this would happen. That's a lesser emotion, so it has a comma after it. Okay, so here's a summary right here. Oh, I certainly will submit a resume and cover letter to them. So O, interjection that's lower level and can easily be interwoven into the sentence, so we put a comma after it instead of an exclamation point. I is the subject of the sentence. It's actually a pronoun. Will submit is your verb. How will you submit it? You certainly will submit it. In fact, I'm going to highlight each one of these and go back over it again. Okay, there we go. Okay. I is the subject of the verb will submit. I look for an actor to find the subject, and then I find out what that action that person is completing or state of being that person is completing. And so I will submit what? Resume, cover letter. So resume is a direct object, and so is cover letter. It's a direct object, and direct objects are always nouns or pronouns, and in this particular case, resume is a noun, and letter is a noun. To them is a prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrases always has an object, and the object of the preposition is a noun or a pronoun. Me, us, you, him, her, it, them. I, we, you, he, she, it, they. My, mine, our, ours, your, yours, their, theirs, his, and hers, and its. So to is connected to the word them. How will you submit the resume? Or when will you submit? Either one of those particular words, it's referring to the verb. How and when will you submit it? I certainly will do that. So certainly is an adverb that's modifying the verb. And a is an article, which just refers to the resume and cover letter. And is a conjunction that joins the two nouns together. So now we have all the parts of speech that's identified in this particular sentence. Okay, in the meantime, go into MindTap and complete the activities. If you have any questions about any of the assignments that's in parts A all the way through the conclusion of this particular chapter, you can go to a podcast in the Learning Management System and take a look at the first. Actually, I provide the answers to the first 5 questions and explain them to make this chapter a little bit more simplistic for you. Hopefully you'll find those helpful. So that's in a podcast that's located, I believe it's in the content link of your learning management system. I was looking for a pretest, but I'm not able to find it here in the online version. But go ahead and start working on those. This concludes Chapter 1.